Welcome. Just let me know if the sound is all right. Is it too loud, too low? Please let me know in the comments. Let me know if the sound is all right. Too loud, too low. Please let me know. Phil Como, as always, sound is fine. Thanks for letting me know and thanks for joining in. Are you all set for the next game week, FOMO? Did Solanke to Pedro this week. Hopefully that's it for me. Yeah, decent with that. It's a bit of risk involved, of course. We know that Solanke, he's not injured. He has just not done as expected. So he might pop up with a goal and assists. Was it 2 goals and 1 assist? He got like a couple of game weeks ago. So of course there's a risk involved in selling Solanke, but I definitely believe that Joao Pedro at the moment is really good value, 5.6, and uh, on penalties for Brighton with good fixtures. So definitely a decent transfer that. Actually, kind of tempted to put the captain's armband on Joao Pedro at the moment, considering Southampton's bad defensive form and stats. It's really, really tempting. Gives me a bit of money to spend elsewhere. Yeah, definitely. My plan for game week 14, I will probably just save a transfer and play this team the next game week. But in game week 14, I will have 3 free transfers, and I will probably sell Mbumo and maybe Bruno Fernandes. My other option is to sell Mbumo and Havertz. This is to bring in Saka for game week 14. So I will keep an eye on both Bruno Fernandes and Havertz in game week 13. It's like an audition for them in my team. So the one who doesn't perform will probably be sold together with Mbumo to make room for Saka. Cunha is gonna haul again this week. Yeah, it was really frustrating seeing him haul again. I was so close to bring in Saka and Cunha instead of Isaac and Havertz on my wildcard team. It was like my first draft had Cunha and Joao Pedro in a 3-5-2 with the powerful midfield with Bruno, Salah, Saka, and Mbumo and Palmer. But after some tinkering, I went with Isaac because I really wanted him for game week 12. And Saka was an injury doubt, so I thought that probably Havertz would be a better option short term. But yeah, we all know what happened. Saka did well and Havertz didn't even play, so that didn't really work out for me in game week 12. At least Havertz is not injured or anything. He played in the Champions League, so he will probably start in game week 13 and he could do well against West Ham. So I'm holding on to Havertz for one more week and hopefully he can deliver. I would have bought Isaac last week, but I couldn't afford him, so lucky for me. Yeah. It looked so good on paper bringing in Isaac last game week, but and I watched that game. It was the Monday night game against West Ham. And I watched the game and I had both Lewis Hall and Isaac, and can't really remember what minute, but really early in the game, Hall assisted Isaac, but he got ruled out for offside. That was a roller coaster, but he probably should have done something in that game, even though that goal got ruled out because he had a couple of chances as well, but he missed them. So it was a frustrating watch as a Hall and Isaac owner, and of course West Ham, they scored on their first chance that game and scored another, which means -1 for the Newcastle defenders. So really frustrating owning them both and only getting 3 points from that match. I was on a green arrow before Monday night, but it could have been a lot better. So I need those points at the moment, sitting at a rank of 2.4 million, which is not really good. So hopefully I will have that game week that will bring me up in the ranks really soon, and hopefully game week 13 can be that game week. As mentioned, I'm really close to putting the captain's armband on Joao Pedro. Still kind of differential, around 10% ownership, and a really good fixture against Southampton. It was kind of surprising heading over to the bookie site to see the predictions for the anytime goal scorer and seeing that Joao Pedro actually is on the highest percentage. He has the best odds for anytime goal scorer in game week 13, which kind of gives me hope that the Joao Pedro captain punts has some merit. 48% of a Joe Pedro goal in game week 13. I was kind of worried about the comments from Hurstler as well, mentioning all the attacking options Brighton have at the moment, and he said that there will be rotation and maybe at some point Joe Pedro will be benched or subbed off early, so I'm not too secure about Joe Pedro's expected minutes. I didn't like as mentioned, I watched the game on Monday, Newcastle against West Ham. I didn't really like that Callum Wilson is back. We know that when he is on the pitch, he is probably Newcastle's penalty taker as well. So Isaac will lose penalties when Callum Wilson is on the pitch. So that kind of limits Isaac's appeal as well. So I have been considering selling Mbumo, and if both Bruno Fernandes and Havertz does well in game week 13, I might sell Mbumo and Isaac actually. Isaac is a tough fixture in game week 14, but a couple of good fixtures after that. So next game week will be it will be a pretty tough decision for me on who to sacrifice to bring in Saka. Toughest decision this week is obviously the captaincy. At the moment, Cole Palmer is my captain, as you can see on the screen, but I'm really tempted, and I will probably change to Joao Pedro. I'm not tempted by Bruno, even though the Everton picture looks really good on paper, playing at the Old Trafford against Everton the start of the season. That will be a really good fixture, but let's see if I can put it up on the screen. The stats for Pedro is decent. Southampton are just so bad. Like you say, his minutes might only be 60-80, so not easy to choose. Yeah, that's my point exactly, and it feels like safer as well to captain a more expensive player. I know that shouldn't be the way to prioritize when we're picking our captain, but if Salah, Palmer, and those expensive guys really holds, and I have the captaincy on Joao Pedro, priced at 5.6, and he blanks, that will be kind of annoying. Just a psychological effect of it. On the screen you can see Everton stats. They are actually one of the best teams when it comes to defending for the last 4 game weeks. Kept 2 clean sheets, only conceded 2 goals, 6 big chances against them, which is second. And they have only had 13 shots on target conceded. And they have an expected goal of 3.93, so pretty good stats from Everton that. Man City are so bad. I think I will be going Salah captain. Yeah. It's like the first game week that I can remember that I actually consider captaining a player against Man City. I'll try to put up the Man City stats as well. So this is Man City for the last 4 game weeks. Kept 1 clean sheet, 8 goals conceded, which is actually 19th in the league. They're actually worst in the league when it comes to conceding big chances for the last 4 game weeks, so I can see the appeal of captaining Salah in game week 13, to be honest, but it's like with Salah, and I said in my team selection video, Playing against Man City, we know that they have been bad both in the Premier League and the Champions League for like the last almost 2 months, but we also know the quality in that side, and we know that at some point they will turn it around, and the game they turn it around could well be in game week 13 against Liverpool, and we can see a Man City 2-0 win or something like that. We know that they have the quality to do that. It's probably not really likely that Man City will beat Liverpool when we consider the last game weeks, but as mentioned, with the quality of that squad, they are more than capable to do well in game week 13. This is the stats for Crystal Palace and Isaac against Crystal Palace in game week 13. They kept 1 clean sheet and 6 goals conceded, and they're like mid-table when it comes to big chances and shots on target conceded. High expected goals conceded for Crystal Palace, actually 7.21, which is 17th worst in the league. So I'm probably not going to captain Isak in game week 13, but I like the fixture, especially after taking a look at Crystal Palace stats. My other options are, of course, Mbumo, mostly because of the fixtures. His form has not been that great recently. We know that they played with 10 men in game week 12, so of course that has something to do with him being limited in game week 12, but yeah, I'm not sure. And as mentioned, Mbumo, he will probably be one of the players that I will sell to make room for Saka for next game week. But when we take a look at Leicester stats, they have kept 0 clean sheets, 9 goals conceded, which is worst in the league. Mid-table for big chances and shots on target conceded. And when we take a look at expected goals conceded, it's actually only 6.24, which is mid-table as well. So Leicester, they have been a bit unlucky when it comes to conceding all those goals. 9 goals conceded from an expected goal of 6.24, so some of those goals have been a bit unlucky, but will probably not go for Mbumo, to be honest. Sideway move from Welbeck to Pedro, worth it? I'd say so at the moment, yes, considering that Joe Pedro is on penalties and it also saves some funds. I would probably consider doing that move if I had like 2 or 3 free transfers available, but if you only have 1 free transfer, I would wait, and I would definitely not do that move for a hit. Will you be selling Mbumo after 13? Might be close to a drop. Yeah, probably I will sell Mbumo. I will get my team up on the screen. I will most probably sell Mbumo and get Saka in, but I need to sell another player as well to afford getting Saka, so let's see. Bumo will probably be sold after this game week. And I will sell one of Bruno Fernandes, Havertz, or Isak to afford having Saka in my midfield as well. So I'm kind of tempted to do Mbumo and Bruno Fernandes to Saka and someone like maybe Bowen. Already got Saka, but thinking Mbumo for Gordon, Bowen, don't own Isaac. Yeah. I think that getting Jared Bowen in for game week 14 will be a really popular move. He has good fixtures, and we all know that he will have a really high expected minutes in December when the fixtures are really congested, and we kind of should aim for those players that we know are nailed on and will play most minutes. So it's like Mbumo is one of those players, right? But the fixtures are so tough for Brentford going forward, and I think that it's with his high ownership as well. If you don't think that he will keep on scoring, then it's probably a good idea to sell him. He can't really remember, but it's like he has 40+% ownership, so selling him when the fixtures gets tough is like a differential not to own Mbumo. So I think that if you believe that Mbumo will struggle for the next game weeks, then he is a sell. One possible move for me is, of course, to sell Mbumo, Havertz, and Bruno Fernandes, bring in Saka, Bowen, and Cunha. Before game week 13, I will just save a transfer and play this team, but I was talking, of course, about the next game week 14, the midweek game week, which is coming. It's like it's only a week away. That one as well. So a verbal may be taking over penalties. Just to remember, something to look out for. He should probably get another chance on penalties when we consider his stature at that club at the moment. But remember a couple of seasons ago that he was not really good at taking them, but he should get another chance. So I will not be surprised if we can get another Bowen penalty, even though Paqueta is probably still first choice. So in game week 12, I got a green arrow. Not a real big one, 59 points, but green arrow. Kind of annoyed with some of my picks. Some of the 50-50 decisions went against me in game week 12, going both Isak and Havertz when I was considering the likes of Cunha and Jackson. Jackson I kind of went against Jackson because of the 4 yellow cards, but of course he scored, got bonus, and no yellow card, so owners got a bit lucky in game week 12, I would say, but of course Jackson is a decent option, but having Palmer who blanked at 10.9 million when I could have had Jackson at 7.9. Like the stream on arrival, guys. Not sure. Is it like you saying that you like the stream, or are you like telling others to like the stream when they join in? Jackson is the one I want but can't get because I need to hold Watkins for a few games. Yeah. Makes sense as well to just hold Watkins. I would be a bit concerned when it comes to Watkins minutes when they have Duran ready to step in, but what I've seen from Duran, he, of course, especially at the start of the season, he did really well when it comes to goals minutes ratio, but what I've seen from Duran, I'm not really sure that he's good enough to play week in, week out, so I just think that Watkins is so much better overall player. So Duran will most probably stay as an impact sub in my opinion, that he's not ready to start consecutive game weeks in the Premier League and the Champions League. So Homo FPL telling others to do, yeah, thanks, really nice. And I would love people who joined in to give this stream a like. I think it's, if the stream gets more likes, I think it gets shown to more people. So, of course, if it's shown to more people, then more people would join in as well. Captain Palmer or Salah, 50-50 for me. To be honest, I have both Palmer and Salah, as you can see, but I just 10 minutes ago talked about the captaincy, and I'm not too sure about captaining Salah against Man City. Just feels wrong captaining a player against Man City. It's not that I can't see the stats from the last 4 game weeks, and I know how bad they've been both in the Premier League and the Champions League, but it's Man City after all, and we know that at some point they will kickstart their season. So that game might be in game week 13 against Liverpool. So I wouldn't be blown away and that surprised if we get a 2-0 Man City with a Holland brace. That will be classic FPL, wouldn't it? Can we do a poll? Of course, I'll get it right up. Who is your game week 13? Captain. Who is your Game Week 13 captain? Salah, Palmer, Joao Pedro, and Bumo. Who else should be in there? I'm not going to captain Bruno Fernandes considering Everton's stats. Probably not go Isak. Some of you might have Saka, so I should probably put him in the poll as well. Oh, I can only have 4 options, so it's Salah, Palmer, Joao Pedro, or Mbumo. Excuse me, big chance conceded are too high to ignore, yeah. And they're worse in the league as well, aren't they? I'll get that up once more. Yeah, 21 big chances conceded. 8 goals conceded in 4 games is a lot as well. Only beaten by Leicester with 9. Watching the game we give updates, we need to really study the team process, yeah. I kind of like United and all my game with 12 wildcard. Of course, I picked 2 United players, both blanked in game with 12, but at the moment I would actually give them a couple of more games before bringing in United assets. Bruno, he looked so much better when Ruud van Nistelrooy was the manager, but it's really too early to tell after just one game week, of course, what kind of impact Amorim will have on the team. But he was playing 3 at the back with 2 wingbacks, and of course Masraoui, he was not playing really far up the pitch in that game, so One United Garnacho, it's probably a decent option going forward if he gets nailed on for United. Good price. I like Bruno as an asset, of course. He's their talisman, and we know about the expected minutes from Bruno Fernandes and that he is on most set pieces, but it's kind of expensive as well, so we need him to deliver every other game week. So United 1-0 up after 50 seconds against the Norwegian side Bodø/Glimt, and Spurs playing against Roma. starting, from what I can see, starting their best team in that match. Son, Solanke, Kulusevski, Johnson, Porro, all starting. So on the bench, they only have from who started last game week. They only have James Madison on the bench. So Spurs with a strong team. Same goes for Chelsea. Let's have a look. Chelsea game is finished. Chelsea won 2-0. They rested most of their first team players, starting Nkunku up top, Sancho playing Gueye. Yeah, so Chelsea, they played their second string team. United resting some of their players as well. Bruno, of course, starting. Mason Mount, Anthony. Both of my United assets playing tonight, Masraoui and Bruno Fernandes. Hoping they will get through that game without any injuries. Rashford benched. Manu back on the bench for Man United. Been injured. Amad Diallo, great player as well. He is on the bench. Luke Shaw and Dalot. Nice for Dalot owners, of course, seeing him rested for tonight's game, playing Anthony on that right wing back, Malacia on the left. Masraoui taking up the same position as he did in gameweek 12 at the right hand side of a back three. Spurs with a goal, Son on penalty after 5 minutes. That's what I've been waiting for all the game weeks I have owned Son so far this season. Of course, the penalty comes in the Europe League. Chelsea started to beat him, yeah. I own Garnacho, worried for his X-Men. Yeah, especially seeing him start tonight, and probably Amad Diallo will start in gameweek 13. I would be a bit worried as a Garnacho owner, to be honest. Some penalty goal for Spurs. Kind of frustrating, to be honest. Started the season with Son and Bruno. Betting against Haaland for game week 1 to 6, just to see him score like 10 goals in 5 games. When it comes to Masraoui playing at the right hand side of that back three, it's kind of annoying, to be honest. I was really looking forward to seeing him, as we did under Ruud van Nistelrooy, playing higher up the pitch. So if I knew that he would be playing there, I would probably not pick him on my game with 12 wildcard team. So I will not recommend others bring in Masraoui at the moment. On my watch list on this stream, I have Timber. I think that he has looked really good for the last 2 games that he's played for Arsenal after he came back from injury. So I think that he will play most games. It's kind of been unlucky when it comes to his career at Arsenal. Got injured in the first game week last season. So we probably would have had a lot of minutes last season as well. Kind of fits in that Arsenal team, the way he plays, like possession oriented, good at keeping the ball. My other defenders on the watch list are Estupinian and Hall. I know that Hall did not haul in game week 12. Had an assist but got ruled out, of course, when Isaac scored early on, but I still think that 4.4 for Newcastle defender is decent if you have the possibility to rotate and play Hall in the good fixtures. And I like Estupinian as well. The reason for not going for Estupinian on my wildcard is that its price point is kind of awkward at 5.0. And if I picked Estupinian, it would be harder for me to bring in Saka next game week. So I went for Lewis Hall instead. But I think both are decent options. And I like Timber as a punt as well. Just swap the captaincy to Joao Pedro. I figure if there ever will be a really, really good game week to take a punt on captaincy, this will be it. I think the captaincy will be spread on a few different players this game week. Some of them will just permacap Haaland and trust him for game week 13 against Liverpool. Some will go Salah. Palmer will be picked by a lot. I think that Mbumo is popular as well. Haven't seen that much of Bruno Fernandes, but he will probably be picked by some when we consider that Everton at home, at least it looks like a really good fixture. Saka against West Ham, he will be captain, of course, and I think that probably Isak as well. But not that much since he blanked in game week 12, but my point is that the captaincy will be spread, so if there ever is a really good week to take a punt, then game week 13 probably is it. Salah is leading the poll. Palmer has a vote as well. We take a look at the bookies' prediction for anytime goal scorer. Joao Pedro is actually on top of the list with 48%. Welbeck is also included on the list, so the bookies have really strong belief in Brighton for game week 13. And Cole Palmer is second with 46, in between Joao Pedro and Welbeck at 48 and 44. Still 1-0 for United and Spurs in the Europe League. As mentioned, the Chelsea game is done. They won 2-0 against Heidenheim, playing their second team and rested most of their players. Cunha is the most transferred in player ahead of gameweek 13, close to 300,000 transfers in. Joao Pedro second, 200,000. While Haaland and Raul Jimenez, the two most transferred out, together with Semenyo. Saka is also top 3 for transfers in, 174,000 transfers in. It kind of annoys me not to just go for Cunha and Saka last game week. Would have given me more points in game week 12, and in addition I would save those transfers next game week, but it is what it is. Cunha 680k transfers in at the moment. Pedro 469. A lot of transfers have happened in the last couple of hours. Cunha's transfer have more than doubled. Same goes for Joao Pedro. But Cunha is still the most transferred in. Pedro is probably still second. Let's have a quick look. Joao Pedro, Saka still the most transferred in, but when it comes to top transfers out, we can see Haaland, he is top. Luis Diaz has became second, and Guardiola, so Raul and Semenyo still top 5, but not second and third as they are on this list. So in a couple of hours, my graphics are already outdated. Note to self: if I find the time to do a deadline stream tomorrow, I will have to update the transfers in and out. But when it comes to injuries and suspension, This should be up to date from the latest press conferences today and yesterday. And the suspension tie up is the same. Still a couple of good assets on 4 yellow cards, including, of course, Ait Nouri, first player on my bench, and Jackson is there as well. One of the reasons why I did not pick Jackson last game week on my wildcard. Thanks for the update, FOMO. And as mentioned, I will update the graphics if I find the time to do a deadline stream tomorrow. Alan, he will probably remain on top for transfers out tomorrow evening as well. And I think that the top 3 transfers in probably will stay the same. You know, he will be transferred in, and a lot of people are selling Haaland to Cunha and then have the funds to upgrade. Especially Semenyo, who is red flagged with suspension. They upgrade Semenyo to Saka, which makes sense. Salah is now the most owned player in FPL. Yeah. It was only a matter of time when we consider the last game week's events. And what has happened in the last, let's say, 6 game weeks? What was I thought would going to happen in the first 6 game weeks? I just got it all completely wrong. So I started the season with Salah betting against Haaland for game week 1 to 6. Then I sold Salah in game week 6 to bring in Haaland because of Man City's good fixtures. Haaland, he still got chances, but as we all know, he only scored 2 goals in those 6 games, while Salah did really well. So it will be really typical now that I reverted that transfer once more and brought Salah back and sold Haaland. It wouldn't be that surprising if Salah starts blanking from next game week and Haaland really smashes it. At least I got it right in game week 12, though. Captaining Salah and selling Haaland in game week 12 really felt good to be on the right side of the Salah Haaland duel, if you can call it that. Salah Haaland rivalry. What's going on in Manchester? Is it 2-1 up For the Norwegian side, Roma scored, equalized against Spurs as well, 1-1 in London, and one to Bodø/Glimt against Man United. They have turned the game around. 23 minutes played. It's not like Man United are resting players like we see that both Chelsea and Spurs are doing. Maybe not Spurs in the same way as Chelsea, of course, but Spurs actually playing their strongest 11. Only Madison on the bench, but Man United playing their best defense. Onana in goal, Masraoui, De Ligt, Martinez. Of course, Antony would probably not start in the Premier League as a right wing back. Malacia has been out for so long as well, so Man United could have had a stronger team by playing at home against Norwegian side Bodø/Glimt, who is probably one of the worst teams in the Europe League. Just looked at the United lineup, there is no excuse to not. I agree, especially when it comes to their defending. They're starting like Onana, De Ligt, Martinez, and Masraoui. Kind of worrying seeing United concede 2 goals against this team. Please don't tell me Masraoui will be benched for game week 13. Really good fixture at home against Everton in game week 13. Hopefully United will get a clean sheet. But I wouldn't be that surprised to see a player like Johnny Evans come in for game week 13. Dalot and Luke Shaw will probably play on the left and the right wingback spots. with Gabriel yellow flagged as well, so the defense could be actually a little bit worrying for game week 13. I will have Ait Nouri coming in playing against Bournemouth, which is of course a really decent option. But I wouldn't want Kirkis against Wolves, especially when we consider Wolves' attacking form at the moment. But of course, I have options on my bench, so I'm not too worried about Gabriel's flag or Masraoui being benched for game week, for the next game week. So 1-1 in London, Tottenham against Roma. I've seen some, especially over at X, talk about bringing in Forster. Vicario is injured and will be out for an extended period of time, and Postecoglou said that they will not buy another goalkeeper in January. So Forster, he will probably continue playing, but it's not like that Spurs defense is to be trusted. And if you want a defender, I would definitely spend the extra cash on Porro for his attacking appeal on set pieces, free kicks, corners. So I still think that Porro is decent because of the attacking threat, but I wouldn't want other defensive options from Spurs. So we know that both of their best centre backs are injured as well. So now they actually have their first goalkeeper and the two best centre backs injured. So at the moment, Spurs defense is a no-go for me, at least. If I was using my wildcard this game week, it would of course be a bit tempting to have both Fabianski and Forster as the goalkeepers, two starting goalkeepers for 8 million, playing for West Ham and Spurs. Probably not the worst idea, but we know that this is a transfer waiting to happen at some point, so probably best to just stay away. Let me know if you have any questions, 50-50 decisions or dilemmas ahead of the next game week. My captaincy at the moment, I've just changed it to Joao Pedro. I believe that this is a really good game week to take a punt. I'll put up the Southampton stats on the screen. This is one of the reasons why I'm going to Probably going to Captain Joao Pedro. Not 100% decided. In the poll, in the comments, Salah is leading with 67%. But look at those Southampton stats. 27 shots on target conceded. 8.91 expected goals conceded. It's tempting. 14 big chances conceded as well. Flecken is the only keeper people need, yeah. It would have been so typical if I had owned Flecken from game week 1, which I actually considered doing, and then just sell him all my game week 12 wildcard. It would be classic FPL. But I had Dean Henderson. He actually did well a couple of game weeks, but the game week I sold him, he of course went on to save penalty, which is kind of typical as well. Also Spurs 2-1 against Roma. 35 minutes played. Brennan Johnson assisted by Kulusevski. Good FPL options, both Johnson and Kulusevski. Johnson got rested in game week 12 against Man City, came on to score. Kulusevski was probably the best player on the pitch in that game. Postecoglou got so much hate from the Spurs fan base ahead of the Man City game for starting Kulusevski and benching Brennan Johnson, only for Kulusevski to go on to have a really, really good match. If Johnson or Kulusevski does really well in game week 13 as well, I might actually sell Mbumo and Bruno and bring in Saka and Johnson. So quick look at their ownership at the moment. Van Johnson still differential 9% owned, while Kulusevski is only owned by 4%, so both are decent options in my opinion. Kulusevski only priced at 6.3 as well. Joao Pedro's ownership 13.9, so he has gained a lot of new owners last week, but he's still only priced at 5.6 and could still be labeled as a differential at 13% owned, of course, and leading the way as my game week 13 captain at the moment. Kulusevski has been playing great, but doesn't get the FPL points he deserves. Yeah, I agree. He's like more of a player that assists the assister, I guess. Not getting the final touch and not like finishing up their attacks, but playing really well. He's really unpredictable, versatile, playing on that right-hand side especially. It's really hard to catch him. He can take on his man and create 2-on-1s and be a real menace for the opposition. But as you say, tends to not get involved when we are talking about goals and assists. But as mentioned, he got an assist tonight for Johnson's goal, 2-1 for Spurs against Roma in London. Still no more goals in Manchester. They are trailing 2-1 against Bodø Glimt. Conceded 2 goals in 4 minutes against them. Not a really good start for Amorim if Man United can't beat Bodø Glimt with this starting 11 at home. It will be kind of disastrous, to be honest, especially when we consider what Ruud van Nistelrooy did in those few weeks he was in charge. People will start questioning Amorim really quick after seeing what Ruud van Nistelrooy was capable of. So Salah leading the poll at the moment when it comes to captaincy for gameweek 13. The next on the list is Cole Palmer playing against Aston Villa. On the screen I have Aston Villa's stats from the last 4 game weeks, so not impressive from Aston Villa. Kept 0 clean sheets, 9 goals conceded, same as Leicester, which is worst in the league for the last 4 game weeks. A bit better when it comes to big chances conceded, only 11, and they only have an expected goals conceded of 6.02. So as with Leicester, Aston Villa could be said to have been a bit unlucky, conceding 9 goals from an expected goal of 6. Here is an example of a great player but not an FPL pick. He's the cog of the team but rarely gets at the end of returns. Yeah. Totally agree. Great player but not that great when it comes to FPL. Started with him from game week 1 to 10. Kulusevski. It's been kind of underwhelming when we sum up Kulusevski this season when it comes to FPL, but when I take a look at the list at the moment, I can see that he's only 6 points behind Son. So Kulusevski has 47 points while Son has 53, Johnson 55, and the best performer The best performing midfielder from Spurs is Madison with 68. So when we consider the value, then Kulusevski at 6.3 is actually one of the best Spurs midfielders. Especially when we consider points per million, of course. But as you say, he's not been good enough. Let's have a closer look at his stats. He has contributed with 2 goals and 3 assists. Started every game week except from the first game week where he only played 11 minutes. Game week 1 where they drew against Leicester 1-1. Kulusevski with an assist in game week 10, blank in game week 11, new assist last game week against Man City in game week 12, and a new assist this evening against Roma. Probably maybe Kulusevski could become an option again if he starts being more consistent going forward. We'll have a closer look at Kulusevski next game week to afford the Saka, the Mbeumo to Saka switch. If I decide to sell Bruno Fernandes, of course. My other options to afford upgrading Mbeumo to Saka is to downgrade Havertz or Isaac. At the moment, I can't afford selling Havertz and Mbeumo, bringing in Saka and Cunha because of price rises. I was able to do this on my game week 12 wildcard and was really close as well, but if I want Saka and Cunha for game week 14, I would have to sell Mbeumo and Isak, which is of course an option as well. Newcastle playing against Liverpool in game week 14, but we have a couple of good fixtures in game week 15 and 16. It would be really typical to sell him in game week 14. Tough fixture against Liverpool. Maybe he could get something in that game and then have 2 good games coming up. Man United 2-2. They should win this game. Højlund scoring, and of course Masraoui with an assist. Half time at Old Trafford. 1 minute left in London. Tottenham 2-1 up against Roma. United 2-2. Chelsea, they have already played and won 2-0. They rested most of their players. Salah leading and probably winning this poll. I will have to leave soon. Salah 67%, Palmer 33. 2 votes for Salah, 1 for Palmer. My captain is Joao Pedro at the moment. Good form, good fixture for Brighton. Southampton, they have been really bad. I kind of want to go a bit differential. Joao Pedro, 14% owned. It's really, really tempting. Hopefully I will be able to log on and have a deadline stream tomorrow. Then the final decision will be made. If you find the time, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next stream. Hopefully it will be tomorrow, as mentioned, if I find the time. Every week I do at least one stream, a Q&A, the night before the deadline, or a deadline stream, and sometimes I do both. Each week I post a team selection video with a quick summary of the last game week, take a look at the next game week, updated watch list, and I always have a section with captain selection. Pedro could quite easily get 2 returns in even 60 minutes, but I'm playing safe on Salah. Yeah, I kind of get that. It's like all it takes for Salah is Liverpool to get a penalty, and him being a midfielder as well gets an extra point. He has the possibility of an extra point if they keep a clean sheet as well, so I get the appeal of captaining Mo Salah, but at the same time I'm so tempted to be a bit more differential, and I have a feeling that Man City will turn it around soon. Of course, not the easiest fixture to turn things around playing against Liverpool at Anfield these days, but I will probably switch the vice captaincy at least to Salah before I log off. 2 seconds. So, Joao Pedro captain at the moment, Mo Salah vice captain. Still 21 hours and 37 minutes until the deadline. As mentioned, hopefully I will be able to have a deadline stream tomorrow. Join in if you have the possibility, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thanks everyone for all the questions and interactions. Really appreciated, and hopefully I'll see you next time. If I'm not able to do a stream tomorrow, then best of luck to all of you for game week 13.